Another lunchtime live stream today because I enjoyed doing it yesterday. And before we get into too much today, I think I'm going to go ahead and pardon myself. I'm going to give myself a previous 11-year pardon. So any crimes that I've committed for the past 11 years, I'm going to go ahead and pardon those right now because I don't think I should be punished for any of them. I think I also may pardon myself for the next 11 years as well, just to, just to be safe. Because apparently that's a thing that we can do nowadays. So yeah, just wanted to go ahead and get my my pardon out of the way. I've been pardoned for, fuck it. Any all crimes in the past and any all crimes in the future. Okay, so now that we got that guy out of the way here, I figured today we would chat a little bit about some handguns that I have in the collection and just kind of giving my thoughts. Excuse me. Again, just got done with lunch, so I apologize. But I'm going to talk a little bit about some handguns in the collection and kind of my thoughts on a couple of them. And I figured we'd go ahead and do a little bit of a kind of a classic big three debate. So we got a Glock, we got a Sig, and we got a 2011. So I figured I'd kind of just go through and talk about all three of these builds that I have and kind of talk about positives and negatives, what my thoughts are. I know the Glock versus Sig versus 2011 debate is kind of something that everyone in the gun community gets into quite a bit. This is the Springfield Prodigy. It's not a Staccato. I'm still calling it a 2011. I don't really care that much. So we're doing Sig versus Glock versus 2011. I guess we'll go ahead and start with the Sig. So the Sig build that I have right here is actually the Sig Sauer P226. Now, obviously, it's not the stock 226. So this version right here is the Zev version. I've had this on the channel before. We of course pimped it out. We got a big ridiculous comp on the front. I have a upgraded adjustable trigger and a upgraded hammer. There's one other thing I did to this as well. Oh, there is, I'm going to flip it over right quick, but I can't do that on camera. So on the other side, I also added that takedown lever, the gas pedal takedown lever as well, which is really cool because it gives you a place to hold that support hand thumb while you're shooting. It actually does a pretty darn good job at controlling muzzle flip and recoil. The big thing with the Sigs, they are more expensive. Not quite as expensive as something like a 2011 would be, but they are still a little bit pricey. I think you can get like a regular P226, like the double action, single action, for probably about like $600 or so, maybe. This Zev version, I think MSRP is at $2,500 because it does come with like an optic and threaded barrel and blah blah blah, some other cool stuff. But yeah, they're good guns. I do love me a Sig. What actually kind of got me into the Sig world, I guess you could say, is the I bought the P365 Legion as a concealed carry weapon, and I wasn't really expecting to like it as much as I did, to be incredibly honest. Now that gun ran in at like $1,300, but of course don't have it sitting on the table here, but yeah, it ran in about $1,300, but I really did like that one. It shot incredibly smooth, incredibly flat. So I kind of started to look into more Sig Sauer options, and I kind of fell in love with the P226 Zev. Again, I did get this one used, so at least was a little bit cheaper, but obviously still kind of an expensive handgun. I would say that the Sig Sauer to me, because since we're talking about kind of Glock versus Sig versus 2011, for me, the Sig, it kind of sits in a spot, metaphorically and literally here, in between these two other guns. The Sig kind of does have a reliable history in law enforcement that the Glock 17 does have, but they're also still a little bit higher end, in my opinion, when compared to the Glock, and a little bit more upgradable for speed and recoil management, kind of like something like a 2011 is. So for me, the Sig guns kind of sit in that middle ground. They do have the reliability, but they also have the speed and can get upgraded so they can shoot incredibly well. I do love my Glock, and we'll talk about that shortly, but especially with this build right here, like with everything I've done to it, I would still say that a 2011 platform is going to shoot a little bit faster and a little bit flatter, but this is pretty darn close. Obviously, the ridiculous muzzle device on the end really helps compensate that muzzle flip. The gas pedal takedown lever is phenomenal. If you guys have never shot a gun with one of these, like it's such a small piece, but it really, like with that support hand thumb, it really gives you so much more control over the weapon. The adjustable trigger on this was pretty wild too. This one has an incredibly short and fast reset, and then the skeletonized. How big is a Glock 19 in comparison to the Glock 17? Yeah, so I hate the Glock 19. This is a Glock 17. Their sizes aren't like incredibly different. I think the slide in the barrel of a Glock 17 is about half an inch longer. But for me, the most important difference in size is just going to be the grip. I would say I probably have like average sized man hands, and the Glock 17 fits really nice in the hand. I actually am a fan of the older generation finger grooves, but the Glock 19 specifically, it just, I don't really care about the slide because like a half inch is, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of negligible. But the grip, if I were looking at a Glock 19, I'd actually get personally a Glock 45, which is going to be the 19 slide and barrel on the 17 frame, just because the frame fits my hand well. I do carry this Glock 17 fairly frequently, and I don't really ever have any issues printing. And honestly, I don't know. Everyone kind of freaks out about printing, and I truly don't think I give too much of a fuck up about it, like, to be incredibly honest. It's not like I'm wearing like skin tight Under Armour shirts out to like dinner all the time. Like, no. But yeah, the Glock 19, I just hate the frame size. I feel like it's like probably about, an inch and a half shorter, which I don't know. To me, I can't really get my pinky on, and I kind of lose a little bit of grip in the ring finger as well. So it kind of sucks. So yeah, that's my spiel about the Glock 19. Sorry, we're going to ramble and get hella distracted today, but back to the Sig. Yeah, I do really like this Sig. This grip, again, if we're talking about grips, this grip fits my hand pretty darn well. This one is single action only, so it is kind of going to be almost kind of like a 1911. Obviously, the Glock 17 is going to be that striker fire design, where this is hammer fired. I don't like Glocks because they all look alike. Okay, so yeah, no, you're right on that one for sure. My argument to that, and I almost brought it out, and I'm kind of pissed at myself for not, is you can get a ton of different Glock stuff and make them incredibly different looking. The other Glock I have in the collection it's still a Glock 17 Gen 3, which this one is, but I have like a FDE camo slide. I have different suppressor height night sights on it. I have a different FDE frame. So you can buy a Glock or build a Glock and have it look, light years different than this one. This Glock right here on the table, there are a couple aftermarket parts on it, but this one is fairly stock. But I kind of keep it that way for a reason, to be totally honest. So this is actually probably the most common gun that I run on the nightstand. What's next to that Glock? So yeah, we were talking about this one earlier, but if you're just hopping on, kind of comparing Glock, Sig, 2011. So this right here specifically is the Sig P226 Zev that I've kind of customized a little bit. But yeah, this Glock is pretty stock. I have like the Talon grips on it, and if I flip it, so let me flip the camera right quick, because I'm not allowed to touch guns on YouTube Live, if y'all didn't know that. So that's why I'm like doing weird stuff. Yeah, so I have the Talon grip on this. I replaced the mag release with the Strike Industries mag release. And I just did a little OEM extended slide release as well, just so I didn't have to break grip. And thank you. I love this Sig as well. It's an absolute vibe. Like I said, it is a pretty expensive base model gun, but it is what it is. With the comp, with the upgraded trigger, takedown lever, optic, and hammer upgrades that we've done to it, it shoots really, really freaking nice. But yeah, I mean, you can make your Glock really as, I mean, essentially the Glocks are kind of going to be like the ARs of the handgun world in a sense where you can really go in and customize everything. They do all look the same if you buy a stock Glock out of the box, but there's plenty of like customization options. And I really do like to customize the handguns. That is absolutely for sure. I will say the biggest thing that I like about this Glock is like it. I know everyone kind of harps on the Glock reliability, but like it's just true. I've never had any sort of significant like malfunction issues or reliability issues or anything at all. Now, that being said, I did keep this Glock fairly stock so I didn't run into that problem. Once you really start getting after it with aftermarket internals, you can screw things up. And kind of bringing us back to the Sig here, that's kind of what I accidentally ended up doing to the Sig, right? Like I love this compensator up front. It looks sick. It very much so flows with the gun. And it does reduce a absolute fuckload of recoil and muzzle flip on this. So I do love it. But I kind of did everything at once to this, right? Like I added the aftermarket trigger, I added the aftermarket hammer, I added the aftermarket comp, and then I can't really show you, but I did take out the, I replaced hammer strut springs and a couple of other internal springs so that I could lessen the weight of the trigger pull on this. And then it just kind of started being a piece of shit. I think the biggest culprit for that is the comp on the front. Just because when you add that compensator, it adds weight to the front and it reduces the amount of, I guess, force that the slide needs to reciprocate. So I was getting a ton of like jams and stovepipes and all that stuff. So I've been kind of working with replacing different sorts of recoil springs and different weights and just trying to find a good like recoil spring weight that works for me. And that has been kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie, because it really just depends on like how hot, like what kind of rounds you're running and all that shit. And it's just kind of annoying. Whereas the Glock, I mean, like it's fine. Like you shoot whatever you want through it. You don't have to change any internals. It's good to go. So I think that's the biggest benefit of the Glock is that it's always kind of good to go. You can change, you don't have to like, it's going to be reliable if you leave it alone. But if you don't want to leave it alone, you can customize it, but you may run into reliability issues. And I would kind of say the same for the Sig as well. But yeah, those are those two. I know we talked about those a little bit now. So we'll kind of swing over. And we'll talk about the custom Springfield Prodigy that I got here. Hey, don't show that to Biden. He might say you can put, oh dude, I love, it's kind of funny. You actually missed me. I pardoned myself at the beginning of the live stream. So I now have I just gave myself a full past and future, just pardon for everything. So I could just, no crimes for me, just pardoned. Everyone's pardoned. I pardoned all of you that are watching the live stream as well. You've all been pardoned. Just go do whatever you want now, I guess, because that's like a thing. But yeah, Springfield Prodigy here. This gun, as much as everyone will hate on it, I cannot find a gun that shoots faster or flatter than this one with the upgrades that I did to it, which we'll go through and talk about. Local gun store has a bunch of staccato XCs and staccato Ps with like the compensators and stuff. And they let you rent them for like $5 a pop. So I have shot this side by side to a staccato XC. Does the staccato XC, when you're just kind of playing with it, like racking the slide, it feels a little bit smoother because all the parts are hand fitted, right? But I will say this gun right here shoots as flat, if not flatter and faster than a staccato XC because of the upgrades we did to it. And in my opinion, that's kind of the beauty of the Prodigy is that you can get into it for about $1,000. And then instead of, because the staccato P, okay, the optics ready staccato P is going to cost you $2,500. So we can buy an optics ready Prodigy for $1,000. And then we can spend some money into upgrades that'll actually make it shoot like a staccato XC, all for under the cost of a staccato P. So anyways, kind of getting into the upgrades on this one. The V8 ports, now obviously these are on both sides. Can't really show that. So we have these V8 ports on both sides of the gun. Those are incredibly helpful to reduce that muzzle flip and recoil when you're shooting this one. That is probably the coolest upgrade to this. Now you can get those ports on pretty much any 2011 platform, but again, because like I've seen some dudes that have these ports on their staccato Ps, but for me, if I'm going to spend the money, like I want to get in on a cheaper base gun, spend the money in the upgrades. So the ports up front by DSC Gunworks were a great upgrade for this one. Shoots incredibly flat. Now, kind of interesting to kind of compare and contrast the compensator to the ports here as well. The compensator, I don't know. When I added the comp here, like I just kind of said, like I did have reliability issues and I had to play with recoil springs. It like kind of really sucked. It wasn't a ton of fun. And I'm still messing with recoil springs. Versus these ports, I did not have to change anything. I kept the OEM stock recoil spring on this, and I have never had a jam with this gun, which I guess just to be transparent is not everyone's experience with the Springfield Prodigy. I have a lot of guys that, because I love mine and I talk about it all the time. It's great. It shoots super flat. It's really reliable. I haven't had any major issues at all. And I've had people be like, yo, like mine sucks. I've had to send it back. It still jams. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky with which one I got, but the ports on this, getting the ports on this did not create any sort of reliability issue for this weapon, which is pretty awesome, right? Aside from the ports, there were a couple other things that I did to it. Obviously, I can't really show you the trigger pull and trigger reset on a live, which is annoying, but I did have a trigger job done to reduce this to a 2.5 pound trigger, which is the trigger weight of a Staccato XC as well. So between the ports and the trigger reduction in weight and reset, like I said, this thing does really shoot as flat, if not flatter, than a Staccato XC for literally like less than half the cost. I think the ports cost me $300, the trigger job cost me $100. So we're $1,400 in so far, and we're shooting like a Staccato XC, which is going to run 4,000 plus. So that's pretty damn good. I also added the Dawson Precision magwell to this as well. That is the magwell that the Staccatos use. To me, I needed that magwell. Like I said, I kind of have like normal average sized hands, I guess I would say. And when I was gripping that, like the base of my hand just kind of kept like sliding off the gun. And just kind of having that magwell pop out a little bit. For me, it was more important for a grip than it was for like reloads. Obviously, the magwell does help with reloads, but for me, it was kind of more necessary for the grip. I guess the only other upgrade, if you would even call it an upgrade, is just the Hollow Sun optic I have on this one. This optic is kind of cool because it's the ACSS optic, so it kind of has that chevron and then a circle around the chevron. That really helps for, I would kind of say like new red dot shooters, I guess, if that makes sense. Because if you, all right, it's kind of hard to explain, but it has like the chevron in the center, and then there's a big circle around the chevron. So if you're tilting too far to the left, it'll show you like half the circle on the right side, so you know to bring it over. So it's a pretty cool optic to have, especially for people who don't historically shoot with red dots. Because when you're just running something like this is just like the Sig Romeo, I believe, or something. It's just like, it's just boop, it's just your dot in the circle. And sometimes when you have that gun up, it can be a little bit tricky to find if you're not used to running the dots. So again, kind of directly comparing these three when we're talking in a lens of the 2011. I will say I haven't really tested significant, oh, thanks Ammo Alchemist, love you, buddy. I really haven't tested the dirty durability, I guess we'll call it, of the Prodigy or 2011s. Now, everyone will kind of tell you like, oh, they don't have that, like they're not reliable, you got to keep them really clean, and I just haven't tested it. In a sense of, to me, this gun specifically is kind of just used as a range toy. It's not really running in my like carry rotation or home defense rotation. Not that it couldn't. To me, this is the nightstand gun. Like I like running the Glock 17 as a nightstand gun. I feel very comfortable shooting it. I probably have the most rounds through the Glock I'm probably a little bit, I'm definitely not faster with it. Out of these three guns, I mean, I'm definitely going to be slowest with the Glock 17. And then it's, to me, kind of a toss-up between the Sig and the Prodigy or 2011 here, just which gun I'm fastest with, just kind of depending on the day. But I'm definitely slowest with the Glock, but it's definitely going to be the most reliable. The Prodigy here, especially with the ports, I will note that they're actually pretty clean right now because I just kind of cleaned, because I just kind of cleaned this gun. But where those ports like are drilled, that area of the barrel and the slide gets just incredibly gunked up and dirty. So, I mean, if I were to run, I mean, I've ran like 300 rounds through this before without any sort of malfunctions, but if I were to run 200, 300, 400 rounds through this and then set it on the nightstand in like a home defense rotation, I don't think I would be incredibly comfortable with that, to be completely honest. It's just one of those things where I do love doing all this aftermarket stuff, like the ports and the trigger job, but the more you mess with the internals, just the more reliability issues you may have, which is kind of not really what you're looking for in a self-defense gun. Again, if we're just kind of comparing the three overall, if we're talking self-defense, I would definitely pick the Glock 17. If we were talking like what's going to be the fastest shooter, flattest shooter, I mean, it's definitely the 2011 with the ports. And I think the Sig P226 is a very nice, like, kind of in-betweens-these option. It's still kind of got the reliability of the Glock, and it's still kind of got the flat shooting customization upgrades as the 2011. If I were to only pick one of these, I guess it would kind of totally depend on the purpose. I mean, if I could only afford one gun, dude, yeah, thanks, man. I like the Sig as well. Like I said, this is the most expensive gun on the table, which kind of is a little annoying to me because I still think the Prodigy with the ports shoots faster and flatter. It's a close second, but I think it's still a marginable second. But like I said, I mean, I picked this gun up. I mean, I bought it used for $1,700, whereas you can get a new Prodigy for $1,000 or a new Glock for like what, $600 or $550 or so. As far as like vibiness, yeah, I agree. I think the Sig is the coolest out of the three. The one thing I will kind of give an edge to the Sig for is it does have a metal frame, which I really enjoy. And the Prodigy kind of has these plastic grips, which I don't have any problems with, but it's just something about like an all metal gun is really kind of what gets me going. But like I said, I mean, I bought this for $1,700. The comp was $100, the trigger was $100, the hammer was $100. So there's $2,000 into it, and I probably have another 100 or 150 into internal springs, which you can't really see, to decrease that trigger weight and trigger pull, and decrease the reset as well. So, I mean, at the range, I think I have like one of my very first like shorts on the channel is I kind of did like a build drill with all three of these kind of side by side. And, you know, as kind of expected, the Glock was definitely the slowest. This was kind of the second place middle option, and the 2011, it was faster. Now, I guess if we're talking about like size and weight, it's actually kind of interesting because the Sig is definitely the biggest and the heaviest, and it still doesn't outshoot the ported Prodigy. I think the Glock, I mean, I love this Glock. I have another Glock 17 in the collection as well. And it's a lot more of a purpose-driven handgun, I guess, in a sense of like, I enjoy carrying this and I use this as home defense rotation, whereas I would not carry the Sig. Not that I couldn't, but like, it's kind of hard to appreciate the size. I guess when you compare it to the Glock 17, you can kind of see, but like, especially with the compensator, like it's huge. Like it's an incredibly large handgun. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not very practical to carry. I do have a holster that fits it. I have the Tier 1 MSP holster, which actually is pretty cool because it just goes off of the Surefire. So I could switch this Surefire to any one of these guns and still rock it in that holster. That being said, the holster is enormous and the Sig is enormous. Do you have any H&K? I actually do not have any H&K guns in the collection. Not that they're crappy. I've shot a good handful of them. I really think they're incredibly ugly. And I know that's not a great reason to not buy a gun, but I think they're kind of disgusting looking. So I don't really want to spend my money on them. Yeah, so this one is a single action, just like you're kind of saying there. But yeah, so single action only, and of course the Glock is going to be our striker fired. Yeah, HKs are reliable for sure, but I would argue that the Glocks are probably more reliable than HKs. I feel like HKs have a little bit more intricacy in the internals, which can always like, I don't know, man. I feel, not that I feel burned by this gun, because I do really love it. And if I run the lowest weighted spring, like the lowest weighted recoil spring, it functions really well. Now, man, that's not a 43X. It's a Glock 17. It just kind of looks small in comparison to the giant Sig next to it. But yeah, if I run the 9-pound recoil spring on this one, it cycles pretty darn well. But I hate running just the lowest recoil spring weight, because if you increase the recoil spring weight, you can actually decrease the recoil even more. And again, the purpose of, oh, all right, the 22 LR MP5. How do you like that? Because, I mean, they're super cheap, aren't they? I mean, not like, I don't know, I don't really know what I would do with the 22 MP5 except LARP at the range, but that's definitely a good LARP gun for sure. Yeah, it'd be a good plinker. Are you able to suppress that as well then? Does it have a tri-lug on it? $399. But what was I gonna say? I don't even know. But yeah, no, I love the Sig P226 Zev. I just hate messing with these recoil springs. I do love the Prodigy. I haven't carried this one just because, like I said, it scares me to get these ports dirty and then have like jams, but I have not had jams on this so far. I really wish I could show y'all the trigger job on this, just because it's absolutely sick. 2.5-pound trigger, like I said, and the reset's super short. I would argue that the reset actually may be shorter on the Sig here. So it's kind of hard to see, but inside there are a couple of areas where you can adjust this trigger, and you can adjust it both for pre-travel and reset as well. But if you torque the reset too short, it'll actually like screw up some sort of actuator in the hammer, and then it like doesn't reset appropriately. So that's another thing too. Like, again, the more you mess with the internals, like just the kind of the shittier these guns get. Magnet red dot sights. I've been seeing them everywhere. They are illuminated, I believe. No, I think I may have seen like a very Amazon style ad for these magnet red dots. I mean, in theory, it's a good idea, right? Because buying these dots like kind of fucking sucks, to be honest. My soapbox rant on red dots are just like, I don't have any Trigicon dots, and it's probably like whatever. But dude, I fucking love the Hollow Suns. I think they're incredibly effective, and they work well for like a fraction of the price. I don't have any beef with this Sig dot either. It did come with the gun, so whatever. But you know, I think red dots in general are just such a scam. Like, I think the fucking like the Hollow Suns and the Sig dots are probably my favorite. But like, dude, the EOTechs, to buy a like $500-600 optic is just wild to me. But yeah, no, definitely something to look into, the magnet red dot sights, because it would be kind of cool just to like bloop, 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 like switch them up like that. I just don't have any. I really have been trying to cool it off with the ridiculous purchases recently, because this one was a fairly recent purchase and a recent build, as well as the little shorty Rifle Dynamics AK that I always have on the channel, and that one was like ridiculously expensive. So I'm really trying to chill it out. But I think that's a great My only concern with the Vortex CCW Defender, yeah, that's a good one too. I like Vortex. For me, like buying an RMR for $600 or an aim point for like the same, I have a hard time. I don't know. I've not been told that. I sound like Demo Ranch, but I guess that's a compliment. Lifetime warranty. I've seen it for as low as $299 for what? The Vortex. I actually got who did someone tell me I sounded like the other day? Oh, Jesus, wait. It was Vance. Like someone's like, "Oh, you sound like JD Vance." I was like, "Well, that's kind of cool, I guess." I haven't heard that before, but better than sounding like Kamala Harris, I guess. But yeah, optics are a scam, and to be honest, that's a kind of another point to make about the Glock is everyone really enjoys shitting on the Glock irons, but I truly don't mind them. Yeah, dude, I agree. This is like, so you can get a hollow sun optic pretty cheap. Now this one is that fancy ACSS optic with like the chevron and the circle around it. So it does like, I think it was a little bit more expensive, but like I said, I think this was only $300 or so. And I would absolutely recommend like to anyone who wants a first pistol red dot, this is 100% the optic to get just because it does have that circle around the reticle. So it like directs you to the reticle, which is incredibly nice. Not that it's hard to do, but it definitely like when I put this gun in somebody's hands who hasn't shot that often, like they have a very easy time finding the dot versus like, and I took someone in the range recently and they put this in their hand and like they just struggled with the dot. That's one of my only beefs with the 226 Zev is that the iron sights don't co-witness with the dot, which like I kind of expect it to because this gun comes with the dot. So I don't know why they would make a gun that comes with the dot, that comes with iron sights that don't co-witness through the dot. Like this gun, like you buy it with the optic already installed. So Sig knows that like they don't co-witness. Yeah, I can co-witness through my irons with the Vortex. Yeah, most optics you can. And I mean these iron sights here, like they're not even incredibly high, but they co-witness through everything. Why wouldn't the dot be in the front? What do you mean, man? Like the front of what? But yeah, this optic co-witnesses lower third. These do not co-witness at all, which is kind of annoying. And then I'm just running the stock Glock. I do have another Glock in the cover or the gun room that has like the RMR cut and all that good stuff. And I had the behind the front sight. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's just where the dots are. The other dot, I guess since we're talking about dots, I don't have it out on the table right now. What's the comp on the 226? Yeah, all right. So this is a Armory Craft comp. Pretty much all of the upgrades in this build here are the Armory Craft, except the takedown lever I actually bought from Sig. So out of the box sight goes flush to the gun. Well, this one didn't, and you can't co-witness, which is kind of annoying. But like I said, I mean, like you would think that like this would have one as well. I wanted a good comp for mine. Yeah, just a great compensator. Now like I said, I had to mess with the recoil springs, which is kind of annoying. But it does significantly reduce recoil. I mean, I was just running this with the like thread protector on it. Competition Shooter 2011. Well, I guess my argument for not having the dot up front is that's where these dang ports are, so it would beat the shit out of the optic. But yeah, no, I do love the Armory Craft stuff. That's my only kind of, I mean, I won't really call it a beef with Sig, because they do have an aftermarket support. It's just not as like prevalent as the Glock aftermarket support, I would argue. I mean, I was able to find pretty much all the pieces for this that I did need, and but I was kind of limited. There's not that many specifically made compensators for this. You could always, because I think I actually was running just like a little Griffin Armament carry comp on this as well for some time, but it definitely doesn't do as well as the big ass Armory Craft one. But yeah, like same for like trigger and hammer. There were, I think Gray Guns was the other company or whatever that had a trigger and hammer option, but I ended up going with the Armory Craft just because I like the skeletonized look. Now they do make, Armory Craft does make a magwell for this as well, but like it's kind of retarded looking. So like, see how that magwell, like it goes all the way around the like fucking frame, right? The Sig magwells only go around like the back half, and I think they look super stupid, to be incredibly honest. Yeah, so for this one, I have this like the Aftermarket adjustable trigger in it, but with the comp on it, I did have to adjust the recoil springs. It just wasn't cycling well. And I also really like to run like the absolute shittiest ammo I can find, and it's usually like 115 grain. I don't really subscribe to the theory of like I don't know. I have a buddy who's like, I only run like 130 gram. Like, dude, like I'm running whatever's cheapest because I want to shoot. Like I want to have fun. I want to shoot. I want to practice. So I'm running the cheapest shit I could find. All right. So I have shot a bullpup 12 gauge shotgun. I think I have a video on the channel of like me shooting a little empty Zin tin of it. It was fun. It was fun to shoot. It felt really weird. It was the weight. It felt like the weight distribution was a little wild. So I didn't really love the bullpup 12 gauge. I don't know. I kind of liked the Springfield Hellion when it first came out, but I don't think it's worth the money, to be honest. What's the brand again for what? This gun? So this is the Sig Sauer P226 Zev. We got the Glock 17 Gen 3, and then we have the Springfield Prodigy 4¼ inch with magwell, trigger, upgraded ports on it as well. What else can I ramble about today? Is the Sig drop safe? I don't know, because I'm not dropping my $2,000 gun. I'm sure it would be. The safety on it is pretty... Okay, so that's actually kind of something interesting to note about this is when I was messing with the trigger, I actually like overdid the trigger reset, and the safety actually wouldn't work. I mean, you could flip the safety up and down, but even with the safety on, it would still shoot and fire. So... Again, the more we're messing with internals, the more we can like kind of screw up our gun. So I'm trying to keep up with these comments, but I'm like a bad reader. Scar H, okay. I do not know who Zach Hazard is. It was a lot. Meet up at the range. No, the aftermarket parts for the 226. Yeah, Armory Craft. Armory Craft is most of the aftermarket parts on the 226. Except the gas pedal takedown lever is from Sig Sauer's website. But everything else, and there's a bunch of like, I did a bunch of internal spring replacements on the 226 as well. Yeah, dude, y'all got to relax in these comments. See you arguing, man. But yeah, no, the 226 is sick. I love it. It fits my hand really well. I feel like with the Glock, this frame does fit my hand pretty well, but it took me almost a little while to like get used to the grip. Whereas this is like, I feel like a little bit more natural for me. Same thing, like I said, kind of with the Prodigy grip as well. The magwell kind of needed me to, like, I needed the magwell to get my grip pretty well. I'm not telling you, excuse me, Jesus Christ, man. I'm kind of getting like fucking sick. Fucking sucks. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where I live. Sorry. Y'all please Google the competition 2011. Yeah, well, all right. We'll do that here in a second. Yeah, dude, I love the P226. I'm glad y'all are enjoying this one because I kind of like, not a lot of, I don't know. I didn't really know about this gun. I mean, I knew about the 226, but I kind of started looking into the 226 because I wanted a double action, single action. Obviously, it's not what I ended up with because this one's a single action only. But I was looking into the 226, and obviously, I like to waste. This is kind of back when I had a better job. I had some money to spend, so I was looking at the 226 Legion, and kind of looking at the double action, single action, or the single action only. And I was just like, I think I was on Gunbroker. I don't even remember, man. And I came across like the 226 Zev, and I was like, why the fuck have I not heard of this gun before? Because it's fucking awesome. It's kind of hard to appreciate, but the slide has all these like window cuts and serrations, and this one comes with like a threaded barrel and the optic, and it's got like upgrade. I think some of the internals are a little bit upgraded as well. So I mean, it's cool, man. You a cover side mount. Over slide mount for most pistols, custom-ish. Yeah, that's a little extra. Not that it would be bad, but I think what I really would like to get is I would like to get higher iron sights on this. That really does blow my mind a little bit that the dot comes with and on the gun, but the iron sights don't co-witness with the dot. Kind of pisses me off. Richard Purdy. Do you know Xander Purdy? P226 Zev by Sig Sauer. We've been talking about this one. Yeah, I think it says it on the side here. Yeah, there you go, buddy. 2011 rail mount red dot. Y'all from the sticks? Yeah, kind of. But yeah, now there's the 2011. I'm kind of curious to what I need to look up this like weird mount you're talking about. I would really like to get, for this gun specifically, something like the gas pedal takedown lever for it. Just because, like, I don't know, if I were to recommend one upgrade, I would definitely recommend the takedown lever, like the gas pedal takedown lever. Wait, hold on. Or do you really, Richard? Where do you, are you in the Marines, Richard? Kind of going to wait on this comment. But anyways, yeah, I like the takedown lever just because it doesn't jack with the internals. Obviously the compensator is going to reduce some slide reciprocation. The trigger can screw up things, but the takedown lever, I think I really should swap the slide release. Or is there a way to add a takedown lever to this that's like, trying to think of the word I'm looking for. Is there a way to add a gas pedal slide release to this? Wait, Richard, are you you weren't at that party with me wait, when was this? This was Saturday for college game day. Were you at that party with me? You ever throw a binary on any of your guns? Yeah. So I currently have carried that Glock. I'd consider the comp mount in case you have to press it up against something. I don't know what comp mount specifically, but I have run the carry comp on this one, and it's fine. Like, it shoots okay, but I don't know. I'd rather just not run the threaded barrel and have it a little bit shorter. Lock is a fed. I mean, binary triggers are legal. I feel like this Richard Purdy guy is trolling me pretty hard. That's okay. The hell were we talking about? Binary triggers. Yeah, man. So I had one that I bought like way early on for the AR, and it when it works well and it's fun, and when it doesn't work, it really doesn't fucking work, and it kind of sucks. They're not cheap triggers. They're a little expensive, and to have a trigger that Jesus, don't work with the feds. What were we talking about? Binary triggers or something. But yeah, no. So I actually would really like to get the binary trigger for the Glock 17 Gen 3, but I just am not going to spend $900 on it. Franklin Armory does have that one. I really like it because it does actually have like the little like switch, like the little Glock 18 switch kind of on the side, which is really cool. But for fucking $900, I don't think it's worth buying a binary trigger. Now the Franklin Armory one does come with I mop the floors all the time, man. I really try and keep this place as clean as I can. But yeah, the Franklin Armory binary trigger does come with a slide. Like it's a slide and a trigger, which is kind of annoying. Because I don't want the fucking slide because they're gonna charge you $900 for it. Yeah. So I have the binary trigger for the AR. It's kind of, I actually have a age restricted video up on the channel. For some reason, I'm interested in buying I actually have no idea, a Saba M70. I have no idea what that is. Count mod is nice, but it won't fit the holster. Yeah, it's probably true. But yeah, I don't want to know what this guy's talking about. Weekend warrior, yeah, man. I think we all are at this point. You gotta have like 800 jobs to afford to live nowadays. Yeah, I would really like to look into the binary triggers for the AKs because I like my AKs quite a bit as well. But I think I kind of am hard pressed to find or to buy a trigger for $300 that like kind of may or may not work a little bit. No idea what you guys are talking about. Puddle pirate. What does that mean? But yeah, so if you're interested in the binary trigger, check it out. I do have examples of it working and not working on a long form video of the channel. National Guard, dude, I love my AKs. This is like actually the only day that I don't. I usually have like a bunch of AKs like floating around in the living room, but I did not have any AKs here today. What pistol do you want to see, Maddox? This is the 226 Zev, got the Glock 17, 2011 with the ports. I do love me the ports. Oh man, I can't believe it's Thursday, right? Yeah, cool. I'll check it out. Well, hey, I appreciate everyone who's on here right now, time thefting from the boss as well. Everyone, the drop safe, man? I don't know. I'm not testing it. I'm not gonna fucking put around it and drop it. I mean, like I said, I don't know if any of the guns weren't drop safe. I would probably put my money on this Sig too, because like I said, when you're messing with that trigger, yeah, the Glock's definitely drop safe. But when I was messing with that trigger, like obviously I'm messing with it and trying to get like the lowest recoil and the lowest reset, and like it kind of, I don't know, it's questionable. Do I prefer ports or comps? I actually have a long form video talking about the differences and kind of my preferences on ports and comps as well. My short answer would be comps, because if I get bored, my short answer would be comps because you can run a threaded barrel, right? So if I got sick of this compensator, it's a pain in the ass to take off, but I could take it off. I could run a suppressor of this gun. I have run a suppressor on this before. If I wanted to carry this gun, I could just run a thread protector or like a micro carry comp. So I like comps better because you can switch up your options a little bit more, in a sense where with the ports, like I am married to the ports. Like they are cut in the slide, they are cut in the barrel. I can't ever, like if I ported like this or the Glock or something, right? Like I can't run a suppressor, I can't run a threaded barrel, I can't run a comp if I want to. I do think that these ports are more effective than this comp, which is kind of interesting because this comp is enormous, right? So ports are great if you don't want to suppress the weapon. Like if you have no desire to run it suppressed, I would say ports over comp, because, oh, thanks, man. Appreciate the subscribe. Ports over comps if you're not running it suppressed, because I think they're more effective and they're actually like gonna take away a little bit of weight and not add a buttload of weight. The only thing that I would maybe bring up with the ports is, so this is not a super long inch barrel, like this is a 4 1/4 inch barrel, right? And so I think there is what am I fucking trying to say? Doing the ports is gonna decrease the velocity of the round ever so slightly. Is it enough to matter? I would argue no, it's not. So I think if the goal was to, like, which is like quote unquote better, I think the ports are better, But once you're ported, you're ported. This one, I can take off this compensator and run a suppressor or a smaller comp or just a thread protector if I wanted to carry this gun. For this one, she's ported, it's done. I can't ever run a threaded barrel. Well, I guess I'd have to buy a different barrel. But anyways, once your barrel's ported, your barrel's ported. I guess in a sense, if you really wanted to like switch it up, you could port a barrel. Like you could have a barrel that's ported and then a barrel that's threaded. It's actually not a terrible idea. Like if you have something like a Glock 17 that comes with just a standard non-threaded barrel, you could always port the slide in that barrel and then buy yourself a threaded barrel to use for suppressor use if you did really want to. So yeah, good question. Ports and comps, I think they all kind of have their place. I like the comps maybe a little bit better just because I like the ability to take them off and run different muzzle devices. Because I do actually, when I first got this, I did run this suppressed quite a bit, and I really enjoyed running it suppressed. It was actually a lot of fun. And when you have a ported gun, you can't do stuff like that. As far as like concussion or muzzle flash when comparing comps to ports, kind of negligibly the same, I would argue. They both produce like a pretty big flash when you compare it to something like just a standard barrel. As far as concussion, I don't care. To me, I mean, I'm running like shorty AKs with fucking muzzle brakes all the time. So the little bit of extra concussion from a comp or a ports with like a 9mm handgun is like, just is truly incredibly negligible to me, to be totally honest. Yeah, so I like them both. I would say the comp is going to be cheaper for sure. Like the ports were $300, whereas like a threaded barrel is usually 100 and a comp's usually 100. So you're probably going to save $100 on the comp. The one other thing to mention, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but was kind of reliability. Now with the ports on this gun right here, I never ran into any reliability issues, which was great. I didn't have to change recoil springs or mess with internals or anything like that. But if I did and I couldn't get it to work, I'd kind of be like just straight fucked, right? Like, all right, so the barrel's ported, the slide's ported, and now it's like jamming all the time. What can I do? Well, you could change the recoil springs, but let's say I change that and it still doesn't work. You're just kind of fucked. Whereas like this gun, for example, like I added the comp, I did run into reliability issues. I changed the recoil springs. It works okay. But if I were like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I just want this gun to be reliable. I want to like, like the 17, I want to add it to the nightstand rotation. I could just rip the comp off and it's going to cycle reliably again, right? Versus like the ports, you're kind of stuck. Like if it's not reliable, it's not reliable, and you're going to be stuck with these ports. Someone give me something else to ramble about. Comment. Give me a comment, baby. But yeah, man, the 226 Zev versus the Glock 17 versus the custom Prodigy. I do really enjoy all three of these guns. And again, they all have very different purposes for me. I kind of agree. Thoughts on FN? Yeah, man, kind of expensive. I actually don't have any guns in the collection. I do have an AK with an FN barrel in it, and it works very well. But I don't really have a ton of FN handguns, or I don't have any FN handguns. I really like the FN Tactical in 45. I do like that one. I think it shoots pretty nice. It's got threaded barrel and suppressor height sights, and it's pretty easy to like suppress. Personally, I haven't really messed with FN. For me, I kind of just buy what I like and go from there. What FN are you using for that CCW? I really should go grab it, but yeah, my CCW is normally just the Sig P226, like the Legion one. Oh, the FN 45. That's a huge gun to CCW. That is arguably maybe about the same size as this one right here. You gotta have a big ass holster for that, man. But yeah, no, I don't mind. I don't mind even conceal carrying the Glock 17, RMR Type 2, and an O-Light. Jesus Christ. Yeah, man, I actually, this is probably a controversial, I don't give a fuck. When I'm carrying this gun, I like to raw dog my carry guns. Like I take the flashlight off and I don't like to run optics on them either. again, like the flashlight and the optics are very nice to have for sure. So I was thinking about buying a G17, then putting a G19 slide on it, and then putting on the comp so that it will be flush with the end of the frame. I don't think you can do that. I very well could be wrong, but I think you need you need to get a Glock 19 or 45 and then add like the Radian Ramjet, and it'll fit in the Glock 17 holsters, but I still don't think it would fit on the Glock 17 frame. That would be, I don't think it would fit on the frame. Yeah, well, I like a Glock 21. There we go. But yeah, man, for the concealed carry guns, I raw dog them. No flashlight, no optics, just run it. I don't know why that's my preference. I feel like I really don't mind carrying a big gun, but for me, once it's like I guess my biggest thing is not necessarily the flashlight. It's just the holster size increases so much, and it's like fucking just tickling my dick all day down there. It's like annoying. So I just rip the flashlight off and just raw dog it. So I'll raw dog the G17. I'll raw dog the P365. That's pretty much, and I carry the Taurus G2C every once in a while, just because I keep that one in the car. So whenever I like kind of forget, it's like I got this one lying around. Yeah, this Glock I have a couple upgrades to this one. I do have another like Glock 17 build that I've kind of like pimped out a little bit more. But this one, I have the Talon grips. I got a Strike Industries mag release. And then I have like an extended slide release as well. But I did like want to just wild sentence to hear. What sentence? But yeah, no, I did like to keep the Glock 17 pretty stock just because I do use this as like nightstand. I just don't want to screw up any of the internals. I do love obviously replacing internals and doing trigger upgrades and ports and comps and adjustable triggers and like all that stuff is a ton of fun. But for something that I actually like 100% need to be reliable, I'm just not messing with internals. Same thing with the P365 that I run concealed carry. I have a very hard time like changing. I've seen other people do it, but don't know what brand the comp was. Also seen people do it on a Sig. Yeah, I'd hate the Sig P320. I don't know why. I really just don't like it. I've shot it quite a bit. My buddy's got the M17, which is like the same fucking thing. I've shot that one quite a bit too, and I just truly do not enjoy it. I don't know. It feels really just cheap and shitty, in my opinion. I know the Glock's like polymer frame and stuff as well, but like the P320 just feels shitty. It doesn't shoot bad. It doesn't have a bad trigger. I don't think I've had any reliability issues with them. It's just like you pick it up and like I don't know, man, like this feels like a fucking gun. Like it's a metal frame gun. It's like, it feels like solid. Like it feels like I could pistol whip someone with this and it would be totally fine. Whereas like the P320, I feel like if I were to drop it, like it would just shatter into a million pieces. And obviously I know that's not the case. It just like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, when you pick up something, you're like, this just feels like it's for like cheap and shitty and from China. Like that's exactly how the P320 feels. Obviously, you know, it's a decent gun, but I think it is cheap. And I think that's why the military ended up picking that one as well. Just kind of cheap gun for the military. Man, I would love to like, actually, I don't know, you most, yeah. I mean, same thing with like the Glock 17 too. I feel like that's why they issue it to all the cops and stuff. It's just fucking cheap gun. So I was absolutely in love with my Glock until I started upgrading it. Then I realized, yeah, what I spent on the Glock, I could have just spent the $1350 on an FN and had about all those upgrade stock. Yeah, agree. It is incredibly easy to get carried away with these projects. Yeah. Look at Uramex SA10, the gas gun. Oh yeah, tickling my dick. Well, I mean, that's what the flashlight, like, that's how I feel, man. Because, you know, you're rocking it like appendix carry, right? And it's just, it's kind of annoying. So that's why I take the flashlight off. They have a lot of different frames you can buy for the P320. Yeah, they do. But again, I try and, like, if I don't like it out of the box, not that I won't upgrade it and add stuff. I don't know, man. The medical ones? the metal ones. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to have to buy, because it's what, $600, and then the frame's probably what, like another 200. So I don't know. I don't want to be unhappy with a gun out of the box. I don't mind like doing upgrades and like messing with parts and pieces, but like I want to take it out of the box, enjoy the gun, and then if I, after shooting it a while, like I want to upgrade X, Y, and Z, I'll do the dang upgrades. Yeah. But tickle, tickle, tickle on the pickle. That's funny. Pickles is usually on my live streams, and he's not on here today, but that's okay. Pistols are cool. What's your primary? So I have, like I said, funny enough, I usually just have my AKs sitting around on the floor here, but I put them away last night. I have a Rifle Dynamics short barrel AK that I really have been enjoying. So I guess I would kind of say that's my main primary right now. I also really like to rock, I have a 300 Blackout AR that's like 10.5 inch barrel with a couple of upgrades on it that I really like to rock too. I'm running the Glock 19 with the mass driver X300 hollow sun. How does that mass driver work? Because it's actually fairly, I've considered putting the mass driver, for y'all that don't know, it's like a ridiculously large comp by Strike Industries. I've been thinking about putting a mass driver on this, but I can't imagine that doesn't cause reliability issues. I mean, it may not, but I don't know. Like anything that I'm carrying, like I carry this, I try to molest it like the least that I possibly can. So I definitely have like, I won't lie to you, like both of these guns, like I would definitely consider like more range toys than like practical application. But again, it's all in kind of what you want out of a gun. Honestly, I love it. The recoil impulse feels a little odd at first, but I've had zero problems with reliability. Well, that's good to know. I think if I were to do like a Glock 19 with a comp, I think I would do the Radian Ramjet and Afterburner just because it is the same slide frame as the Glock 17, so I can run the same holsters. But those are fucking like $350 because they like make you buy a new barrel for them, which is stupid. I think someone should come up with a like comp that it looks the same as the Radiant Afterburner and just have it thread onto a barrel. I think that would be a good business idea. Because I am not trying to spend $300 on a barrel on a comp. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, the price point is the only reason I went with the mass driver. It's like $100 or something. Dude, some of the Strike stuff, like the Strike Industry stuff, I think is really cool. I'm actually really curious to see how their red dot does as well. I know that they just released. Yeah, no, it's definitely up on the website. Their dot, and I think their handgun dot is like $85, which is a pretty darn good price. I mean, the Hollow Suns are going to run you anywhere from like 1 to 3, just depending. And, the Trijicon RMRs are like incredibly expensive. What do you think about the Canik TP9 Combat Elite Executive? Okay, I'm not going to lie, I haven't shot that one. I have heard good things about Canik overall, especially for the price. I don't think you can go wrong. I do kind of recommend anytime you are thinking about buying a new gun, try and rent it first. A lot of gun stores will let you rent guns pretty darn cheap. And I definitely would recommend getting your hands on it before you shoot it. Ammo Alchemist. Yeah, dude, I'm trying. Thanks, man. Appreciate you popping on here as well. Have I seen the comps built for the FN 509? No thread, but removable for cleaning. I have not shot one. I've seen them. I think they're pretty cool. I think it's an interesting idea. That's my only, I guess I'll bitch about that too. So this comp, you can see it has like a screw port on that side and it has a screw port on the flip side as well. So you can take it off, but like, I'm not gonna lie, like this was kind of a bitch to get on solid and stable. I had to Loctite the shit out of it and torque it down. So I don't take this comp off for cleaning, which, isn't a huge deal to me because I spend a lot of time cleaning these guns and I like get real in the weeds and nitty gritty with it. So I really try and like get in there around the comp. So it's definitely clean, but yeah, being able to pop off that comp right quick would be super cool. Strike Industries actually makes a different recoil spring for it too. I'm running, I believe, a 15 pound. I paid 85 from a mass driver. Oh, that's actually not a bad price. I just, again, like I have, I don't have a 19, I got a Glock 17, and to add the big ridiculous mass driver up front is a little, I just don't want to, I kind of made, I don't want to call it a mistake, but that's kind of what I ended up doing with this gun. I added a huge comp to it, and it's a ton of fun as a range toy, but it is not incredibly practical to carry. Big benefit is it mounts with a new guide rod, so there's no worries about malfunctioning. If you press your muzzle against something, it won't blow off your muzzle like one of the threaded ones. Yeah, that's cool for the mass driver. I will absolutely go on a Palmetto AKs tangent. So I think I have 4, 5, 6. I don't know. I got a lot of AKs in the collection, and 2 of them are from PSA. So I actually, if you watch, I think it's my live stream from yesterday, maybe. I have both my PSA AKs on. I have a GF4, like full-size, regular, normal AKM. And then I actually have a RPK that PSA built as well. I have 0 Palmetto State Armory experience with ARs or their dagger handguns or any of their internal parts. I have no experience whatsoever, so I don't want to speak to that. But as far as the PSA, like Palmetto AK specifically, I think it's a pretty good deal, man, especially for someone who's trying to get into AKs. Like a lot of the higher end ones are ridiculous. Like my Rifle Dynamics AK that I have was well over $3,000. And for someone who's like, I don't know, dude, I love my PSA AK. I did buy the GF4, which does have the Palmetto State Armory threaded barrel, or not, excuse me, Palmetto State Armory, what am I looking for? Chrome lined barrel. The GF5, which is going to be the highest, does have a FN chrome lined barrel, but I don't, who cares, I guess. But yeah, I guess they don't install rivets correctly. I can tell you in my experience, I've had no issues at all. I've shot the shit out of both my Palmetto AKs and I haven't had any problems. You could definitely buy a more expensive AK and a better quality AK for sure. I mean, I'm not going to argue that at all, but it's just going to be more expensive. For someone who just like wants an AK and wants to get into the AK platform, which I highly recommend. I like ARs, but I'm actually more of an AK guy, if I'm being honest with myself. But yeah, man, you can get one of their fucking GF3 AKs for like $600. So definitely recommend a PSA AK. What do you think about the Kimber 2011s? Been thinking about grabbing one over a Staccato. I would grab anything over a Staccato, if I'm being just brutally honest with you. They do the rivets flush instead of countersinks. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They're higher quality rivets, but I haven't had any problems with mine. So I can go ahead and endorse their AKs. I mean, like I said, there's more expensive ones, but yeah, no, man. How much Jack Eckert, how much are those Kimber 2011s? I think we actually looked them up for Black Friday the other day. But no, I would buy anything over a Staccato. Staccatos are good guns. I'm not going to argue that, but I just think their markup is ridiculous. Yeah, 3K. Shit, dog. I don't know, man. Everyone, like I said, I was talking about the Prodigy a little bit earlier. Everyone will shit on the Prodigy, but this build I put together for well under $2,000, and it shoots flatter than a Staccato XC. I added the magwell. I did a $100 trigger job to give it a 2.5 pound trigger, and I did the V8 ports on it as well. So if you wanted my opinion, I would get something cheaper like this, or maybe like a Bull Armory, and put like money into the aftermarket upgrades over like, I don't know, man. I can't stomach $3,000 on a gun that's incredibly similar to this, which you can get for $1,000. So like, if you wanted my rec, I'd buy a cheaper like Prodigy or Bull Armory and spend another $500 or $700 in upgrades and really have like a nice fucking custom piece. I mean, this one, like I got the Prodigy for $1,000. I got the magwell for $100. The trigger job was $100. The ports were $300. So that puts me at $1,500 plus the optic was $300. So this whole setup here was $1,800, which is going to be over $1,000 cheaper than both the Kimber and the Staccato, and I have a better trigger, a 2.5 pound trigger, and fucking ports in it, and plus an optic, all for cheaper. So that would be my argument to not buy either a Kimber or a Staccato, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, like I said, the Staccatos are good guns. I haven't shot the Kimber 2011, but I have shot a bunch of Kimbers previously, and I do really enjoy them. What are your thoughts on the P80 Glock clones? Can you field strip the gun, please? I can't field strip the gun. So on YouTube Lives, if I pick up a gun, they will shut down the live. I learned that lesson pretty damn quick. So I can't field strip any of these guns. I do have videos up on the channel field stripping and reassembling all 3 of these guns, as well as like some AKs and ARs and shit too. So if you want to see field stripping content, not women stripping content, see the channel. Yeah, sorry, man. But what are my thoughts on the P80 Glock? I don't have a P80 Glock, but I have a SCT frame. I essentially have like a P80 vibes Glock. And my advice would be get the Glock. I have actually just dropped a video, I think yesterday, comparing like essentially the P80 frame with the stock Glock frame. I like the stock Glock frame better. It feels better. Same with the slide and the internals as well. The kind of P80 vibes frame that I got was $100 all in. Like it was a completed Glock frame for $100. And like you can tell, I guess, the trigger feels okay. I don't know. Again, there's nothing wrong with the P80s, but I personally like kind of the stock Glock a little bit better. All the parts like seem a little bit smoother to me personally. But yeah, I mean, they're good guns. They work well. The Canik TP9 is a solid choice, man. Canik, it's a pretty good value option for sure. I've shot those quite a bit. Again, no significant reliability issues. My advice is don't get the Glock, get the P226. Yeah, I mean, I like the 226 quite a bit better. But, you know, especially in this configuration, there's quite a bit of a price differential for sure. Even the regular 226 is a little expensive. Nothing wrong with something you have to put $2,000 in to be perfect. That's true. You know, again, it's all about like, my whole thing with talking about like Staccato versus like something like this is just, I don't know, man. Like if I had literally all the money in the world, like, yeah, fuck it. I'd rather have a Staccato P than a Prodigy just because the internals are better. And then I would like, yeah, fuck. All right, I'll spend the $300 on the ports. I'll spend money on a trigger job. I'll spend money on an optic. But like, not that I live in poverty here, but like my thing is like about fucking value, right? So it's like I'm going to get a very similar gun in the Prodigy than I am the Staccato P for like literally $2,000 less. And then I can, fuck it, like I'll buy the Prodigy, I'll buy the P226, I'll buy a Glock 17 and probably a fucking AK for all the same price as I would spend on like a Staccato P upgraded. So for me, it's worth just having a little bit of like the lower, I don't know, lower quality. But I've never had any issues on the Prodigy, man. I love it. It shoots flat, shoots fast. It really, I wish I could show you guys here, I'm gonna set this down for 1 second, just so I can show you all the barrel on the Prodigy here. I love the vibes of just like the ported like barrel and slide. Like I think that looks absolutely just sick. Yeah, Kimbers are good guns too, man. I do like me a Kimber. I think my dad's got, what does he have? The Kimber Carry, like the Micro 9 or whatever. Yeah. So Springfield Prodigy, Sig P226 Zev, and the Glock 17. I don't know. Out of my 3, I think this is my favorite just because it's, I feel like the vibiest of all vibes in all the land. I am considering getting that Magwell for this. I haven't pulled the trigger because it's over $100. I do love the Prodigy. I need to take this one out and shoot it a little bit more. And I still love the Glock too. Yeah, I have a fuckload more pistols. I'm trying to like ration my live streams to a couple of guns for me to chit chat about. But there's if you're interested in hearing me ramble more about handguns, or any of the long guns and stuff on the channel, I have, like 200 videos up now. Still a relatively small channel, but doing my absolute best to grow this guy. Yeah, these 3 are all 9mm, correct. But yeah, I love 9mm. It's super fun to shoot. I have 22 is a good plinking round, of course. I love my 45 caliber handguns also, but I would say 9 is probably my favorite. Alrighty, guys. So it has been an awesome live stream. I really do appreciate every one of you tuning in here. Like I said, I am still very, small in the YouTube space. So if you could hit me with subscribe, I would really appreciate it. If you like this kind of shit and your buddies do too, let them know about my channel. That'd be hella dope. Nice, he says. All right, yeah. But I just got to get rocking back to work. I appreciate y'all time thefting from your boss with me. It means a lot. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I got 200 videos up already. And if there's ever anything you want me to chat about, anything you want to see, any guns you want me to rent and shoot out for you, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to do so. Only just found your channel, but definitely sticking around. Dude, appreciate it, man. It really does mean a lot to me. Tell your buddies, hit me with subscribe, watch the videos. I'm here for it. If you guys have any suggestions on what you'd like to see in a live stream, let me know too, because I'm just going to keep pulling out random shit and talking about it. Again, the caveat with the live streams is I can't pick up a gun, but there's plenty of content of me shooting on the channel also. All right, y'all have a nice Thirsty Thursday here for me. There's plenty of drink deals out there, so go get after it. Stay safe, stay strapped, and have some fun, man. All right, I'll talk to y'all. I'll fucking be on a live tomorrow, so I'll see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man.